the moment we're in the process of reforming one of the old lineups with Dio. Geezer, Dio, Cozy, Powell and myself, which we've been rehearsing, and it's been really good up to now.
And not something that people expected from Dio, not to be magical and mystical and full of dragons and whatnot, because that was another time in my life, and it was a time in the world's life. At that time, it was okay to talk about dreams, because dreams could come true. Unfortunately, today, it's really, really difficult for a dream to come true. So I thought I'd talk about things that are a lot more close to the earth, and that is how angry I am about what's going on around us, and I think it needed to be said.
I had a horse promptly fall on top of me, breaking my pelvis, and that was me out of the band.
It's shaped up to be like one of those albums you can't really pick one track. They're all like equally, they've all got their equal points about them.
When you get the album, play it loud.
They were having some issues with Ronnie, and I don't really know what it was. And Tony Iommi called me and said, "This isn't working, can you come back?" And I said, "No, I can't. I'm doing my own solo thing by now."
Just a quick word here. One request I keep getting is to do a documentary on Dehumanizer to follow the other Black Sabbath albums I've done videos on. Well, you ask and you shall receive. So I figured I would show you a rough draft of what I've been working on. Now, rough draft means I got a lot of work to put into it and a long way to go. But I figured I'd give you a preview. So without further ado, let's roll.
This all began in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I was doing a show there with my own band, with a band called Dio, and Geezer came to the show.
I hadn't spoken to Geezer since we broke up. This was what, 83? Was it 82? 82.
Mm-hmm.
His manager, who was his wife, called my manager, who was my wife, and said we would like to get back together to see you again. We missed your friendship, because we were very, very close. Geezer and his wife and my wife were really, really close. And she called and said Geezer would love to see Ronnie again, and I'd like to see you, Wendy, etc. Would Ronnie mind? I said, no, it'd be wonderful. I'd love to see Geezer. He never held any grudges against him ever.
And I told him he couldn't come to the show unless he brought his bass, because he had to play. So he said, okay. So he brought his bass, which got lost on the airplane, of course. So he had to borrow another one, but he did play. And just from that beginning, I mean, it was wonderful. It was like we played together forever when we hadn't really played in 10 years or 11 years. And then, of course, the most important part came. We went back to the dressing room and hoisted a few. And that ended up being, hey, let's get back together again. This is great. You know the way those things go.
And Geese said, I've been talking to Tony, and Tony might, would probably really interested in maybe trying something else again together. The Dio band that was playing at that time was not the one that pleased me the most at that time anyway. So when this came about and I was able to, have an opportunity to play with great people again, and people that I respected and knew I could write with and do something special with, it was a no-brainer for me. Great, let's do it.
No, it's just me and Ronnie met up in America and got up and jammed with him and just had a few beers together and talked about things, and it just seemed we had a really good time. And just talked about all the stuff that split us up before and got that out of the way.
And what was that? I mean, what caused the initial split?
It mainly came from too much touring on the Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. We just didn't have any, because it was so successful, we just didn't have any time out to a break or anything. And sort of all got in each other's way and didn't really talk to each other on the tour, and we just kept getting further and further apart. Or, Ronnie and myself and Tony. Particularly Ronnie was like getting further apart from us. And came to a head when we'd finished the touring. We went in to do the live album, and we just couldn't work together anymore.
Now, I heard some nasty stories there around the time of the live album with the two of you being in the studio mixing at night or day, and Ronnie coming in and raising his vocals, and you coming back and raising the bass or whatever?
Well, this is one of the things I talked to Ronnie about when I first saw him, and it was like news to him. He says, you know, where the hell did all this come from? And it was the engineer at the time that we had. This guy was like total alka. He's just like, when we'd leave the studio, he'd get like a few more bottles of Jack Daniels down him. And it was obviously him messing about with the controls.
So we broke up, and that's the reason. Now, since then, before we got back together again, first thing I said to Geezer was, I want to know about what happened with this turning up the drums and the vocal crap, because it's shit. And he said, well, it wasn't us. He said it was Mr. X, the producer. He told us that that's what you did. And I said, well, you know differently now, don't you? And yes, we do, we know differently. So that took that away. And that was the reason the band broke up. Just because of that one person, Mr. X, saying that, and they believed him. But it was a time when the band had a lot of success. Black Sabbath was a huge band still at that time. And I think our egos got, you know, their egos listened to what Mr. X said. And we couldn't understand why. So we said, fine, we'll break up. And that's why. But not now. Now that we've talked about it, everyone understands that was wrong. That was the reason we broke up, and it was the wrong reason. So from then on, it's not been a problem.
Weren't you content with the last lineup?
Yeah, well, the last lineup was good for what we'd done as that band, you know. But when the opportunity came of putting this band back together again, there's no comparison, you know. I mean, it was great because I wanted to work with Geese again. Anyway, whatever we'd done, doesn't matter whatever name we were under or whatever. I just wanted to, you know, to continue playing with Geese because we've always been best of friends and great working together.
So, what were the problems you were facing upon recreating an old lineup again?
The problems mainly was just to see if everyone was in the right mood to put it together as a band instead of like. I think Ronnie desperately needed before to go out and get his own band together. And he'd done that and got that out of his system, and it was just time we all felt like we wanted to be back as a band again.
This decision pretty much forced you to fire Tony Martin and Cozy Powell. How did they take this?
They fired me, which, by the way, was a complete surprise. I had no idea. I didn't see that coming at all. In fact, I was walking out of the door to go to rehearsals for the next album, and the phone rang just as I was leaving the door, and my manager was on. He said, "You better sit down, kid." Go on, what? And he said, "They don't want your services anymore." So, what? You're kidding me? I just didn't see that coming at all. So, wow, okay. And I was just so shocked by it. I didn't know what to say.
Returning once again to Tony Martin, who just had to be taken away because otherwise Ronnie couldn't enter the band, really. Another nasty rumor I've heard, I keep on returning to nasty rumors here, but it's good to clarify things, is that you started this project really behind Tony's back.
No, Tony was aware of it. We told Tony, and Tony was aware what was going on. Maybe not originally, he wasn't, but he was aware fairly shortly after we decided we were going to get this together.
See, in my mind, this is a guy that really gave his all for Black Sabbath. I mean,
he did, and you know, there's no knocking him. He's a great vocalist, but I think Tony will agree that, you know, he felt a little shady by being in Black Sabbath because he, you know, if it was under any other name, I think he would have felt a little bit different. But the demand on him was so great to, you know, to get more involved with the audience and get more things going, that it was a little difficult for him because he wasn't a run-in, he wasn't an Aussie.
And he lacked a bit of charisma.
He did, yeah, he did. And I mean, he did say that himself. I mean, I did talk to him at my house, and he said that himself. He said, well, you know, I understand. He was absolutely great, and we still get on with him and talk to him.
So
but he's doing his own thing.
At the end, it was an amicable split.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's very good.
Originally, when we first started this lineup, Cozy was involved in it, and we started like rehearsals in England.
We went to the States to do some rehearsals, and it didn't particularly gel the first couple of months. The chemistry wasn't quite right for whatever reason.
Again, the communication problem came up again. We didn't really communicate. So when any problems did come up, it was a matter of people hiding behind doors and hearing it from other people. This is wrong. That's a problem. Well, was anybody going to tell us all about this? Are we going to talk about it as people? No, we never did.
And then Cozy had a car crash, which put him out of action for 3 weeks or so.
I came back to England and went down to a horse show just near where I live, and I had a horse promptly fall on top of me, breaking my pelvis, and that was me out of the band.
But on saying that, it was a situation where Cozy wasn't getting on with Ronnie anyway. Those two are terrible, didn't get on at all.
Sounded good, that. Did you record that, Coach? I certainly did. I still think you could. I don't think you know where that E is. Maybe that'll make a difference too.
No, because I seem to recall a memory of someone telling me that it was actually Ronnie's and Wendy's demand really to get rid of Cozy and replace him with Vinny.
No. I think at first, we could see that it wasn't going to work as that lineup. It just wasn't. And it either meant us not doing anything and all just splitting and going elsewhere, or giving it a try. And when the opportunity of having Vinny came up, it was the ideal set.
It was the one drummer that we all agreed on.
Yeah.
It was the obvious choice, and the question was what was he doing at the time, and we called him up, and he was unhappy with the band that he was in, and he jumped at it. He was on the plane the next day.
So Bill Ward was never a choice?
No. And that's when we got Vinny back to do it, and once Vinny was back, Ronnie felt comfortable, so then he started being able to write, come up with ideas then. But it was still pulling teeth doing that album.
Something of an obvious conclusion to an outsider looking in is that Dio's career was in rapid decline and has been for a few years, and also Sabbath was struggling after a while, and that is the reason that you reformed something that used to be very commercial.
No, that's not the reason. The reason was that we got a lot of. I was settled as far as doing that thing, whatever it would have taken, and we were, but we still wanted to get something together. Whatever, if we hadn't have been a Sabbath or whatever, Goose and myself were planning on doing something together. So it's not a case of because it's obviously grass is greener on the other side. It's not that one. It was a good opportunity to get together because we've still got a lot to offer.
Well, there you have it. What do you think? Any thoughts, comments, criticism? Something in particular that you want to see in this video, leave it in the comments. I'll read them all, and we will see what we come up with. Now, rough draft, so we've got a long way to go, and as you can imagine, some of these clips come from VHS tapes from the early 90s, taped off of TV. So the quality is not there in some clips as much as you like it to be. But hey, some of the stuff is rare, and good luck finding a quote-unquote masters of this stuff. But hey, stay tuned, like this video, and subscribe to my channel. and I will get this done as soon as I can. But until then, check out my other content. I have some really great stuff. Thank you for watching. See you later.